Hi all, this is Dave. Today we're going to use the sequencer MegaBaby that comes with Reaper to play some drums through Sitala, a free plugin, and we're going to add some reverb from Tal 2, which is free, so no cost today. And one thing I noticed is, one thing I found when using the MegaBaby is when you're switching between patterns, if you're playing say pattern number 1 and you want to switch to pattern number 2, as soon as you switch to pattern 2, the pattern switches straight away. It doesn't wait until pattern 1 is finished playing and then start at the beginning of pattern 2, and so on and so forth. And that can be what you want if you're playing live and you want to switch patterns mid-pattern, but it's not built to do that patterns in blocks kind of thing. So I thought, well, how am I going to do this? I don't really play live so much, but if I'm doing some kind of arrangement in a track, I might want to be able to tell the Reaper arrange window which patterns I want to play and when, in what order, how many of them, for example. So today we're going to set that up and see how it works, and wish me luck. Okay, so here we are in Reaper. We have the MegaBaby on track 1, the blue track, the green track, Sitala, and the yellow track, a little bit of Tal reverb. I think that's Tal reverb 2. Yeah, Tal reverb 2. Pretty plain fare on the drums at the moment. No sends have been set up, so you know in Reaper we're going to send from the drum track to the reverb track. Just drag this button down to there. You see the icon changes to a little patch plug. And then that's already done. As soon as you hit a drum now, a little bit of liveliness has been added to the drums. And then the sequencer is going to be playing the drums, so we need to do a send there, but we're not sending audio this time, we are sending MIDI. Go to MIDI all for now. Okay, so here's MegaBaby. Pattern 5, I've already thrown something together for 1 to 4, but if you look at pattern 5, it's completely blank. If I press play on the transport down at the bottom left, there we go. The MegaBaby is MegaBabying, as it were, and it's not doing anything. If you wanted to add a kick on the 1, C1 is our drum. If we look at the C, it's C2. Everything's off by an octave, which is part of the MegaBaby settings. I'm not going to go into that today. But everything's off by an octave, so just remember that. So if you want a C2, which is our kick drum, you program the C1 in the sequencer. And if you're not sure which note on this virtual piano keyboard here plays what drum, if you right click, you'll get an Audition. And there you go, there's the kick. I'm just right clicking on that C1. So let's stick a kick on the 1. I think Bootsy Collins once said, as long as you have the important note on the 1, you can do anything else in between. I think the snare is C sharp 1, so I'm going to right click it. Yep, it is. So there's a pretty plain pattern. Add some hats, maybe, is it D? Yeah, D. What's D sharp? Just right click it. If you don't know it, just click it anyway. Sounds like maybe it's an open one, so let's... Oh, it's just a bit of a louder hat, I think. Oh, there's the open one on E, so let's stick that on there. Well, maybe that's a ride. Who cares? That's how you do a pattern, and that's how easy it is. And you can drag to paint notes in. So if you wanted 3 hats here, just drag, click and drag on the left mouse button. Evidently I'm not a drummer. Okay, so I did the same thing earlier, as I said. Here's pattern number 1, nice and simple. I wanted to make the 4 patterns quite obviously different to each other, so that you will hear the pattern change when we do the sequencing of the sequencer. So that's pattern 1, pattern 2. As you can see, as soon as I clicked on the 2, up here, the pattern changed. It didn't wait till 1 had finished. 3, I think I added some hats. Yeah. And 4, maybe I doubled up and went 16th notes on the hats. Oh no, 4's empty. Okay, that's a good example we can use. If you do control left click on a destination, the currently selected pattern will be copied to that destination. So 3 is highlighted because it's white. If you want to copy that to pattern 4, control left click on 4, and now 4 is the same as 3. So let's say we just want 16th notes. And you can do velocities and stuff like that in here too. I think it's a right click and a drag or something like that, but we're not doing that today. So there's the pattern, and of course Reaper's gone off, and I've been evidently talking for 3 minutes on this thing. So stop, back to home, and we're going to add a MIDI item onto the first track, the sequencer track. And again, if you single click one of these piano keys, you will, let's see if I can open the MegaBaby. If I drag that down so we can see the white pattern numbers. Okay, so MIDI is set to do pattern change here. And this isn't the factory default MegaBaby, it's the Nandi modification, which you can get in the Reaper stash, and it may be in Repack as well. So these red keys over here, these are the green ones are the drum voices. That's the range that you have available for programming drums in here. And if you want to change it, you just left click and drag, which I'm going to do in a sec with the red ones. The red ones are for triggering. So as you can see, the bass note for patterns for drum sounds or sequencer sounds, if you're playing tunes, melodies, is C1, which is right here. Trigger is C6. I'm going to drag that down an octave to C5. So I'm just left click dragging, and the range stays together. Then you can see this trig C4 changing as we go all across like that. So let's bring that down an octave to C4. So when the sequencer receives a C4, whether it's through a MIDI input, a MIDI keyboard or something like that, the virtual MIDI keyboard, or through the arrange window, which is what we're going to use today, when it receives a C4, it will play pattern 1. When it receives a C#4, it will play pattern 2, and so on. So if I drag this down and play or click, and everything's off an octave, so if I click a C5 right here, that should highlight pattern number 1 in white. There we go. And if I click the D5, if you see up here this blank area at the moment, when you hover over a key, you can see which number it is. If you don't want to count up between the notes that are listed there. So this would be D5, and that should be pattern 3. There we go. So again, C5 is pattern 1, C#5 is pattern 2, D5 is pattern 3, D#5 pattern 4, E5 would be pattern 5, F5 pattern 6, and so on. So if we program in the arrange window, let's close these down. Oh, all right, open back up the arrange window. C5 is going to be pattern 1. And then if we control drag this MIDI item to here, we've made a copy, and then bump that up to C#. Control drag up to D, and control drag up to D#. And then set those 4 bars as the loop. Back to home. If I load up the sequencer again and then hit play on the transport bottom left, we should see the patterns jumping between 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. And then because it's looping, it'll go back to 1 again. go. And so for arrangement purposes, you can, this is pattern number 1. You could copy that to the next bar or something and then do it that way, or you can drag and drop things. If I zoom out a little bit, let's say you wanted pattern 2 to be after pattern 4, but you wanted pattern 1 to play twice, so you've got a 1 1. This represents pattern 3, and then you can go into name these items and stuff like that in a region editor and all that good stuff. So we've got a 1 1 3 4 2. That would be a 5-bar pattern. Extend that drag to be 5 bars now. Open the sequencer again, and we're going to have a 1 1 3 4 2. That's the plan, and I'm sticking to it. Hit play. 1 1 again, then 3, then 4, then 2, and then back to 1. Okay, so that works. And there's nothing like the seat of one's trousers. What happens if we don't put a note in there? I'm assuming it will just keep playing 1 because it hasn't been told otherwise. So I'm thinking here we're going to have a 1 1 3 4 2 just like last time. So let's home play 1 1. Yeah, it stayed on 1 3 4 2 1 1 3 4, then 2, then back to the start again. Personally, I wouldn't do that, because if you get lost or you close the project and you open it again tomorrow or in 6 months' time even, it's unclear what's going on in this gap. It doesn't hurt anybody or anything to just have that 1 back in there. And it's easier to change too. If you don't like it, drag it out of the way, put 4 in there. So now we've got 1 4. No, 1. No, that's 1 2 3 4 again. Beg your pardon. Let's say 1 4 3 2. We don't want that anymore. Change the loop to be 4 again, so it should be 1 4 3 2. Hit play. 1 4 3 2. And remember, this is just very, very simple drum patterns. You could put, I don't think this is ever going to be close to Neil Peart, but you can play 2 drums at the same time, and you don't have to be playing Sitala. You could be playing a synth, Repro or something like that. And if you use Repro 1, it'll be a mono synth. Repro 5, you can play chords, and it'd be great for arrangement. You can have set this as a range, a named range, then you can drag your ranges around and all that good stuff. Okay, so that was sequencing the sequencer in Reaper using MegaBaby and Sitala for some basic simple drum patterns. Have fun with that. Let me know how you get along in the comments. And remember, whatever you're working on, whatever this technology you use or don't use, don't let it get in the way of the music. See you next time. Thanks for watching.